Ken Trahan and Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. The New Orleans Saints rescued a game and maybe rescued a season in the process by beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime, 37-31. Lenny, this was such a strange game. The Saints had control, up 13-0. Then all of a sudden, mistakes, and Tampa Bay rips off, 24 in a row, and then the Saints fight back, get the game to overtime, and the most important thing of all, they won the toss.
Exactly. And, we talked about this a few weeks back, Denver-Seattle, and, the overtime rules. And, of course, the fact that Peyton Manning didn't get the ball in that Denver-Seattle game kind of caused a little bit of an uproar. Hey, do we need to re-examine these overtime rules? Well, Mike Glennon was on the other side, not Peyton Manning, when we saw it a few years ago, and the overtime rules did get changed. It was Brett Favre on the other sideline. So you're not going to get the national uproar over the Saints winning the toss and driving down and scoring. What was impressive is how they went down the field and scored, and they really relied on the running game, especially as they got down deeper and just really wore down the Bucs. And that was one of the things that you saw coming out of the Bucs locker room after the game is they got worn down. The Saints had, I think it was over 80 offensive snaps.
85.
Yeah, so that wears down on a team. You usually expect to play about 60, and they had to be out there for 85 snaps. Drew Brees threw it 57 times. The Saints ran it 28 times. So, and Kyrie Robinson got 21 of those carries, including a bunch of them on that final drive.
The Saints killed themselves with turnovers. They're last in the league in turnover margin. Tampa Bay killed itself with penalties. That's what bad teams do. Neither one of these teams are particularly good at this point.
And what was interesting is before the year, we were talking how, this could be any one of these four teams could win the division. You figured Atlanta, Tampa Bay maybe had a chance to bounce back. Carolina and the Saints coming off of good seasons. This might be the worst division in football right now. It's very possible. I mean, Carolina needed help from Chicago with 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter on Sunday, or else this whole division would be under 500 right now, and the Saints would be tied for first place. Instead, as the Saints go into a bye, they're only a game out. They've still got both games to play with Carolina, so it's, as poorly as the Saints have played through 5 weeks, heading into the bye with a chance to kind of get their legs back, so to speak, they're right in the mix in this division.
The main focus has to be, aside from getting healthy, obviously, we don't know the extent of the 4 injuries that occurred in the game yet, and they won't let us know, so we'll just have to wait and see. But the main focus has to be ball security and just stopping the bleeding of turning the football over, because that's why they are 2-3.
Yeah, and yesterday it was interceptions by Drew Brees, and we got a story up this morning at SportsNola.com. When you look at the turnovers, look at the interceptions, look at the turnover margin, look at the fact that Drew Brees had to throw the ball 57 times in this game because the Saints were trying to come back and, relied a lot on the passing game to try and get back in the game in the fourth quarter. How unusual is that you win a game in those circumstances? It is extraordinary. It really is. I mean, you're talking about 2 wins in 20 years with a turnover margin, as it were. It's similar type numbers. Only 2 teams in the NFL have won with a quarterback throwing 57 passes in the last decade. So it's very unusual that the stats did lie, truly, yesterday in the Dome.
All right, next up, the bye week, and then, of course, at Detroit, who got beat by Buffalo at home yesterday, and Calvin Johnson may or may not be able to play against the Saints. Stay tuned. As for LSU, it was ugly. On the Plains, they were playing bad, and they got routed 41-7 by Auburn, matched the score of Auburn beating LSU in 1999 at Tiger Stadium. Have we reached those depths, Lenny, or where are we right now with LSU football?
That's a great question. And, exactly what is the biggest issue that this LSU team has to solve? I think what you're dealing with here is you've got a team that is playing a lot of young players. This is a team, keep in mind, that has had, 18, 19 players leave early the last 2 years for the NFL draft. So a lot of those guys who would have been perhaps seniors on this team are now playing in the league. And, look, that is what happens, and it's part of what happens when you recruit good talent. Those guys, if they're good enough to play, they will go on to get the chance to get a paycheck, and you can't blame them for that. But what you're seeing is the result of that right now, and a team that is, in reality, and compared to the other teams in the SEC, and what may arguably the strongest year that the SEC has ever had and the deepest year in terms of the talent they're putting out there, this could be a down year for LSU.
Yeah, Kentucky beats South Carolina. We know what's going on in Mississippi, so you have depth that's showing up across the board, and it's weird because LSU's not in the mix and Florida's not really in the mix, and they play each other this week.
Right. Who would have thought? You've got 5 games on the SEC card this week. Who would have thought, and when could you have ever imagined that LSU-Florida would far and away be the fifth best game on the card? It got relegated to the SEC network with 2 awful non-conference games this week. So that gives you an idea just where things are at this moment.
Remarkable. Tulane had the week off. Of course, they're home at Yeoman Stadium against UConn Saturday night at 7 p.m. Connecticut's not a good team, Lenny, so this is a real opportunity for Tulane to perhaps get a win at home. I guess the big question will be, who will the quarterback be?
Yeah, exactly. We can ask that question in Baton Rouge. We can ask that question uptown as well. We'll find out. Obviously, if Tanner Lee's healthy enough to go, I think he gets the shot based on the indications out of practice last week, though. If not, perhaps Nick Montana gets the chance.
And, of course, the Pelicans continuing their preseason. We'll keep you posted at sportsnoah.com. High school, of course, the football. You'll get our Prep Player of the Week today. You'll see all about that. New Orleans Quarterback Club video as well. And we'll have sportsnoah.com and Sports Noah TV married tonight, 6 p.m. on Sports Noah TV on WHNO Channel 20. You won't want to miss that. And the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase will continue this coming weekend after 2 games this past weekend.
It was a busy weekend with a doubleheader, and we've got live action on WHNO Friday night at 7. It's the oldest rivalry in the state of Louisiana. Jesuit and Holy Cross meeting up for, I believe it's the 94th time now. And, and the Catholic League begins this week. A lot of other districts begin this week. And we'll hear more about this certainly as we get later on in the week. Read about it on the site. This may be the best year of the Catholic League, certainly since before Katrina, and maybe all time, with just how good these 6 teams are playing right now.
You can read my preview on the top games in the state coming up this weekend, already posted at sportsnoah.com, along with our sportsnoah.com top 10s, which get huge audience each and every week. We publish them on Sundays. Sports writers do theirs on Tuesday. So check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Lenny, have a great week.
All right, we'll see you later this week.
That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of sportsnoah.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.